We are going live.
Okay. And usually it goes live. It's probably already streaming. We just can't see it yet because of the buffering.
Yes.
I'm looking for it on our channel here.
I see it.
Okay. You must have better internet than me at this point.
Yes, I see it on my phone. So
there we go. I can see it here now in Hawaii.
We are live. So let's wait like a minute and then maybe we can just get into the mix of things.
Okay. Yeah, my updates are slow. It says 2 watching now. That's probably me and you.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 people dialed in yet.
Yeah.
We do this primarily for the viewers to get some interaction time. That's why we take a few moments to let people get dialed in. We know it's a mid-Sunday afternoon. We tried to time it on mid-Sunday, 12 on the East Coast, 11, 10, 9 on the West Coast.
Yes.
Hopefully that's an amicable time.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Morning, Jax. Morning, Manager Mister. Morning, James. Morning, Brian. I see everyone.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Okay. All right. Rick, you want to start? People will come in and maybe watch this towards the end.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Cardano Effect, episode 43. We've recently recorded an episode over the weekend with Caitlin Long, and that one will be coming out later this week. It was a fantastic episode. Philippe and I had a great time, and Caitlin is just amazing with her level of knowledge and level of detail of knowledge in the financial system. And she's a Wall Street veteran. You'll see that coming out in the episode. So that was probably one of the highlights of my week so far this week, Philippe. Even though I'm in Hawaii, and I get to go out to the beach once in a while, I was like, yeah, we got to see that. So before we get started completely here, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, IOHK. Thank you very much for sponsoring this podcast and making it possible. I also want to remind our viewers that this podcast is available on Google Play Music, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud, and all of your favorite streaming apps. If you have any feedback for us here at The Cardano Effect, feel free to leave us a note over at thecardanoeffect.io. There's a contact form. Just hit the contact form and let us know what you think. Give us some feedback, inputs. We're always welcoming feedback and inputs from the community. And as most of you know, this podcast was built from the ground up by the community as we went through creating the name and the logo using community competitions, which was a lot of fun. And speaking of competitions, there was one other thing I wanted to hit on, and that is the ongoing treasure hunt. I initially called it a scavenger hunt, and I realized, no, this is more like a treasure hunt where it is a cryptographic puzzle and the clues live out there on the internet. Now, I can't give any clues. There are people making progress. Several people have found the first clue, and they posted it on the Cardano forum. And there are also a couple of people made it to the next stage where I saw indicators. Now, I don't know how the entire puzzle works. I don't know how it all fits together. I've seen samples and snippets of this is a piece that the creator of the puzzle was going to put in there, but I have no idea how it works. I would have to solve it myself. But it looks like that someone did get to the 3rd stage of the puzzle. I have no idea how many stages there are, but it is solvable, and people seem to be having fun engaging the puzzle. So if you would like to check out episode 39, it was where the initial clue starts, and on the Cardano forum where people are finding pieces of the puzzle and posting it over there if you want to get started and up and running on that, if you enjoy that kind of thing. And the prize is 10,000 ADA. It's a single prize of 10,000 ADA. So if you do team up with other people, make sure you know them well and make sure you can trust them so that when it comes time to split the loot, that you can collect your share of the bounty if you guys do in fact team up. I think it would take a genius to solve the entire thing, but I'm no genius, so I have no idea. So, Philippe, what are the first things in the news? We're going to get on to the Reddit stuff in just a bit.
Okay.
It was a dry week in news, yeah?
It was a dry week in news, and I want to just retrace back to what you said earlier. Yesterday's episode with Caitlin Long. Rick is in Hawaii right now, so he's been waking up at ungodly hours to do this podcast. And I don't want to hype this up too much, but the episode yesterday was awesome. I learned so much, and I think everyone is in for a treat. We asked really investor-friendly questions as well. So if you're an investor or a hodler of ADA and even other cryptocurrency projects, this is a must-watch episode. I think you can get a lot of tidbits out of this episode. And Caitlin Long is really a person for the individual investor, for the people, and pushing the bar forward, not only for institutional investors, but for individual investors. So it was very encouraging to speak with her, and we're honored to have her on the podcast. And it's really been all thanks to everyone here watching the episodes, because our podcast has grown significantly. We are in many different countries. People are downloading our podcast constantly. We're getting great viewership. Our subscriber count is increasing, and it's because you're sharing it, you're engaging with us, you're suggesting guests, and as our clout increases, we're going to have more leverage to get more and more people on. And Caitlin is one of the top people we can get within the crypto realm. So thanks to everyone for that. And for everyone joining us today, thank you. I mean, thank you for spending your Sunday, either morning or afternoon with us. This is just our weekly live stream where we talk about everything Cardano related. So we appreciate you joining us. This is just a fun episode. We're going to interact with the community comments as well. We go through what's going on in Reddit and try to give you as much content as possible. We want to try to push the bar forward. So yes. So Rick, do you want to grab a couple questions before we start the Reddit? Or
I do. And we also have another piece of news with Alex Park being selected before we get started on that. So we'll get a review on the questions while I go over the Alex Park news. Now, Alex Park was appointed by the Cardano Foundation to lead community team lead. And I just want to give a little background on that. It's very fresh news. It hasn't had time to bubble up to the top on Reddit yet. But Alex is extremely qualified, and it's fantastic that we have her on board with the Cardano project. A little brief history on her. The background is, prior to joining the Cardano Foundation, Alex was a chief marketing officer at Coin1, one of South Korea's top cryptocurrency exchanges. And before that, she has worked as a marketing strategist at major multinational organizations such as Ernst & Young, Motorola, Samsung Electronics, Korean Air, and she's a native of South Korean. Alex has built a strong presence in the startup space, working at IGA Works, one of the country's leading mobile and tech startups. She ran her own business to help startups grow and scale in Southeast Asia. Alex has a Master's of Business Administration degree from the Johnson Graduate School of Management at Cornell University, Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science, French language and literature from Songang University, South Korea. So this is absolutely fantastic. Well-educated, well-experienced, outstanding. I like it.
yes, and we have a very big South Korean community that's into Cardano. So there's obviously a language barrier. So we need people that are actually South Korean to interact with that local community. So that's wonderful. And I think that IOHK and Emergo, Emergo is based in Japan, but having a Japanese branch, having a Korean branch in every country within the Southeast area region, which speaks foreign languages, it's very refreshing to see that they're getting people that are on the ground there, locals there. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So going on to the first question before we set into the Reddit, there's one of them up from White Inevment. Why are you being sponsored? Well, we're being sponsored because it's a lot of work and we have some overhead costs, and I guess it adds a lot of value to the Cardano ecosystem. Philippe, you got any comments on that?
Yeah, we're being sponsored because we put a lot of work into this podcast. You don't see exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but these take 20 plus hours to plan our episodes, contact our guests, make sure that we edit things correctly, respond to community feedback, lots of different tasks that are involved with this. And we have overhead costs. We have to pay for all the platforms that we're using. We have to pay for our streaming services. And we're always open to new sponsorships as well. We want to add as many sponsorships as possible. So whenever we have a sponsor, we reach out to people to try to get more sponsorships. The more sponsorships we get, the cleaner we can provide, a cleaner product we can provide to everyone, cleaner services that we can provide in the future, and more things that we can do. We have a lot of creative ideas, and they cost. And at the end of the day, Rick and I Do not work for IOHK, Emergo, or the Cardano Foundation. We are regular people with regular jobs. So we do this outside of what we do. So we're working full-time jobs and then full-time jobs on top of that. So we work very long hours during the week, and any sponsorship, beautiful. And we want to get as many sponsorships as possible. I have a Powerade right here. So Powerade, let's work on that sponsorship.
Yeah, I don't have a Monster Energy with me. Yeah.
And you see some ledgers in the background. I know it's not clear, but yeah. So, but whatever we can get. So yeah, that's why we're sponsored. Next question. Yes, we did do an interview with Caitlin Long from Leet Trans. It will be out early next week. I'm not sure, probably mid next week, I would say. Maybe like Wednesday.
Yeah. And there's another one on there. Any chance of getting a hot girl host? Thanks.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's some attractive crypto YouTubers out there if that's your thing. But Philippe and I are professionals. And, if you want me to dress in drag, I can try. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to have to lose a pretty serious bet before I try to do that. So I don't know about getting a hot girl host. This isn't for everybody. Not everybody's willing to go on YouTube, and especially live. So
there are so many. There are a lot of. I feel like there are a lot of women in this space, and it would be nice to get more women on the Cardano Effect podcast in the future. I mean, Caitlin Long was wonderful yesterday, and just progressing the ball forward. But it's Rick and I can't. We're a professional podcast here, and this is as much as you're going to get. So, yeah. So
yeah, I'm going to follow up on White Infant's comment. You can see it over there in the chat. It says it wasn't meant to be rude. Most people on YouTube are not sponsored. Yes, I agree, and thank you. We didn't take your comment as rude.
No.
Why we sponsor was not taken as rude. And
no, not at all.
That input was sponsored. Because I guess it's IOHK believes it adds value, therefore they sponsor the podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's move on to the Reddit questions, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're on the Cardano Reddit. Shout out to the mods over there. You guys doing a great job keeping the Reddit engaged and growing all the time. If you want to see how much Reddit is growing and how much Cardano's social media is growing, check out 8attainment.com. Tommy over at 8attainment has an awesome social media stats app that shows proof of growth, and it is fantastic. Check it out. Philippe and I aren't always cheerleaders. When something is wrong and it's critical, we bring it up. We just don't bring it up in a hostile manner, just so you guys know.
Yes.
We are big fans and very passionate about Cardano. If you want to see Cardano bashing, there's plenty of other podcasts out there. So check them out.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But we're going to call it like we see it, and not everything is gold. So you have to make sure that you actively find problems within a project so they don't fester over a long period of time. So, yeah.
Yeah, pointing out problems is a good thing. It is beneficial to everybody involved.
Yes.
But being otherwise, just being a cheerleader doesn't work.
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead. You want to lead off with our first one, Philippe?
Okay. So the first Reddit post, the top Reddit post for this week was, and I'd like to remind everyone that that just is joining us now that it was kind of a slow week for news. So we're just going to go through these and go through questions as well. And the first Reddit post is Cardano's integrated into Korean government-backed gaming industries. And it links to a Today's Gazette article where it says that Emergo has partnered with the Korean Blockchain Contents Association and the Korean Mobile Game Association. So I was talking about this to Rick earlier. And first, we're going to talk about what these actual partnerships mean. A lot of cryptocurrencies out there, a lot of blockchain projects out there, they have partnerships, and we have to try to delineate what partnerships mean and whether or not they're beneficial to the project, because people have started partnerships a year ago or 2 years ago, and there's no product or there's no service. So this news story, I didn't find a product, I didn't find a game, I didn't find a service that was being released. So maybe that's still under wraps. But for me personally, it's no news until I see a tangible product or a tangible service that I can use. So I don't see anything of that sort. And then the second point that I wanted to make was what we're doing with gaming and blockchain. So I was speaking with Rick earlier, and both of us are Elder Scrolls fans. So we're trying to figure out, what does blockchain gaming look like? Does it mean that the next Elder Scroll game, I'm going to be able to trade some armor, some suits of armor to Rick, and he's going to be able to pay an ADA? Or is this a Cardano specific game where it's going to be, I don't know, Cardano Scrolls or something like that, and we're going to be existing within our ecosystem? Or is it going to be, we're going to be partnering with existing title games and then incorporating our cryptocurrency or blockchain within that game? I don't know what you think about that, Rick. What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be a combination of all three. You're going to see it on mobile apps where you have miniature games, similar like Pokemon Go and there's in CryptoKitties, or things that can be played on a cell phone. And the heavy lifting is done on the device, but the interactions are retained on a blockchain as far as mobile apps. Then on big apps like Elder Scrolls, which last time I updated, it's like 92 gigabytes. That might be an in-game currency. The funny thing is, on Elder Scrolls, they actually have an Ouroboros treasure box. Did you ever notice?
Yes.
You get the little treasure boxes, and there's an Ouroboros symbol on it.
Yes.
In the bottom right-hand corner, when the game's updating, it's a little Ouroboros spinning thing.
Yes.
Like, yes. Is that it? Yeah. It's a coincidence, purely a coincidence. And I agree with what Philippe was saying there about, this is a great step in the right direction. This is good news that Emergo took the step forward to get involved with the Korean gaming industry, and it's baby steps. Now that connection is made, we'll see which direction the integration goes. I don't want to hype the news. I don't like to hype the news. I think it's a great small step in the right direction.
Yes.
Once you start seeing products and results, that's the key.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to, I know it's anything that people just Google the word Cardano and see exactly what's going on, but not all news is really newsworthy. And until we see something, it's just some more words on the paper for me. So I want to use something.
Old Crypto Geek has a good comment on this in the chat. He says, immutable stats. Bingo. I never thought of that. Good one, Old Crypto Geek. I like that. Yeah, I'm looking for any other comments or questions.
I see.
Someone said, would there be a Cardano effect node? I would like to stake ADA with you guys. Yes, we're going to run a Cardano effect node. We haven't worked out the details yet, but we will run a node. It'll be separate though. Like, I'm going to run a node from Digital Fortress. Philippe's going to do what Philippe does, and then we'll run the Cardano effect because people are familiar with it, so they should be able to trust it, and we would definitely be accountable. And so this Cardano effect node better run well, or you're going to be getting some bad comments. There's a comment kind of off topic. It said they have a problem with people named Cardano ambassadors, and they do not talk about Cardano enough as they support other projects. So what is the point of appointing them ADA ambassadors? It's Cardano ambassadors. There's many different roles. There's 4 different roles. There's only one category called content creators, and the content creators are prolific. That you've got to do a lot of stuff before you can get the label content creators. There are some Cardano ambassadors who create other content. I call those people are like the conduits into Cardano. Hashoshi and Lark are ambassadors. They have channels where they cover all kinds of stuff, and CryptoVisor. They cover all kinds of topics in other projects. They also cover thorough information in the Cardano project. People who do videos like that will draw people from other projects over to the Cardano project. If we focused entirely on Cardano, we would become our own echo chamber. And Philippe and I are highly focused on Cardano, but we need people like Lark and Hashoshi and CryptoVisor reaching out across to the other communities and drawing them in to see what we have to offer.
Yes, because people may be turned off initially if they go to our personal YouTube channels and they see only Cardano. It's a little bit polarizing, so you want to have some people in the neutral ground as well that can bring as many people from other projects, and they're not as reluctant to learn because they see that this person is more well-rounded as far as the other projects. But, as far as the future, what Rick and I are going to do, Rick and I are very passionate about this project, and we're pretty much fully dedicated within this project. And you're just going to see a lot of Cardano content from us in the future. So, but shout out to the other ambassadors that are bringing in people that we could never bring in. And Lark has a very wide audience, Crypto Lark, and Hashoshi has a lot of subscribers as well. So it's the more the better.
I think we've got a good mix. It's a good blend. So that was a great question, Mass Adaption. Very much appreciated. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Are you guys ready to go to the next subject area? And thank you to all the viewers. I hope we can get to all your questions. That's the primary goal, is to make sure we get to these. So we're going to go to the next subject, and all subjects are always open and always fair game. The next one we have is Cardano is a slow-moving giant that hasn't started rushing yet. I concur. It leads to an article published zerox.com/crypto. And it goes on to an article with Godzilla. And this article goes on. This article's been tipped $5.84.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking at the breakdown. Got tipped in BAT, Hydro, and DAI. So I guess you can just tip in local currency, all the local currencies up. I've never heard of this website before.
Yeah, that's neat. That's what I really like about doing this podcast, is you learn a lot of stuff from the people who are involved. I get inputs from you guys and learn from that. And so, yes, Cardano is a slow-moving giant. I don't ever want to see it rushed. I know Philippe and I were going to talk about price early on in the project. And when you see a fast timeline, it can cause a pump. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. But then that pump is followed by disappointment when it gets dumped or the timeline is not realized. So after seeing all the different news over the last couple of years, I think I'm okay with a slow-moving giant that can keep the timeline, as opposed to a fast-moving race car that can't hit the timeline. And, we're behind on the timeline too. The current estimate is December of 2019. That's been the estimate for several months now. So we're going to stick with that estimate. And that is it's a slow timeline. I'm okay with that. If someone says, hey, 10 months from now, when it was put out, is when we plan on having Shelly released, then I'll say, okay, 10 months. It keeps my expectations under control.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Any comments on this article in the chat?
Let me see.
Could one potentially mine ADA through Ethereum Classic with NEPA pals, add an extra layer of security as well? I don't know. It's over my head on technology.
Yeah, that's interesting. That would be interesting. Since Ethereum Classic is proof of work, and NEPA pals could link the proof of work blockchain to the proof of stake blockchain, would you could technically be mining Ethereum Classic while your funds are interoperating with ADA, and those would be delegated to a stake pool? I don't know. That's an Inception type question. So I think we would need to get someone who's qualified on NEPA pals to talk about whether or not that's even possible. But that's interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes these questions will be over our heads. We will answer every question, but sometimes the answer is I don't know. I'm sorry for that. But if someone in the chat knows better, please let us know. There's also a question from Manage Mister, and he says, how many Cardano or ADA should be staked with a node? 1,000, 5,000, 20,000? I would like to support as many trusted nodes as I can. That is a user preference. If when you are staking, it will depend on if the node has reached saturation point or not. If the node has not reached saturation point, you can spread your ADA out amongst many nodes. And that might be a good strategy. I think we're going to learn from people who are doing stuff like that. That's from Manage Mister. So, if you would like to experiment that once with staking's online and then let people know what your experience is it better to spread it among multiple pools to spread the risk out? Or is it better to concentrate on one pool? if you put all your eggs in one basket and that pool misses signing blocks, then you won't get the rewards.
Yes. Yeah. And I would recommend when staking comes out for people to really see who they're staking with, identify some third-party companies, identify some stake pool providers that you really want to support in this ecosystem, and stake with them. Delegate. You're not sending your ADA to them. You're locking your ADA within a pool, and you can always remove it whenever you want if the uptime is not good or not. But I want to see people refraining from maybe staking to the like the IOHK pools, the Emergo pools, and the Cardano Foundation pools, solely because I think that they're so big already and they have so much ADA that I think that's, in order for us to become as decentralized as possible, we need to support the people that are maybe outside of those three entities and build up those pools so we can have a wide, diverse range of pools. So, and that might mean that you're foregoing some rewards in this epoch, or you may be foregoing a small percentage in this epoch, but make a calculated decision based on what you want your return on investment to be, and also the ideas that you support, what pools that really represent you and what pools can provide you the best possible customer service. So I think that's an important metric that people need to keep on the back of their mind moving forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a wide variety of pools out there. No, that's a good point, Philippe, about staking with your local small pools, or not local, but the internet's not local.
Yeah.
Yeah, because between IOHK and Emergo having billions of ADA, they're going to have to stake that, because to get to the point of 51% attack resistance, 51% of the circulating ADA will have to be staked. That's the point of proof of stake. Simple, in a nutshell. So that ADA will have to be staked. I'm imagining the pool will reach saturation almost immediately, because they're going to say, okay, here's a giant chunk. Let's stake it to secure the network. Don't worry about saturation over saturation. Just get it staked so that it secures the network. I'm assuming.
Yes. Yes. I mean, knowing IOHK and they probably have some top level econ expert that is probably going to be managing their pools consistently. But I anticipate that they're going to be splitting up their ADA within multiple pools and constantly moving it around depending on the saturation rate or the saturation level of the pools that exist within Cardano. So they're going to be moving things around consistently, but they're going to be doing that to make sure that they maximize their rewards and they also secure the system. So you need to think of yourself when you're delegating stake as separate from IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation. And they're going to be doing their own moves to benefit them. So you need to make sure that you're doing your own moves to benefit you and progress whatever staking pool you support moving forward.
I like the way you put that. I'm going to take your advice. And keep in mind, there are methods in place to prevent Sybil attacks. A very common question I see on Telegram is, what prevents a whale from splitting their ADA into multiple pools and creating multiple pools? Well, nothing. Nothing's going to prevent them from doing that. But there is a paper from Agelos-Kiais, Professor Agelos-Kiais, that talks about Sybil attacks and how they are de-incentivized. That's called a Sybil attack when you do something like that. I only learned that because I read the papers, but I don't memorize them.
We have a couple of questions.
Oh, wow, there are a lot.
Let's see. I see a question from Mass Adoption said, Charles says we should have staking by Christmas, by the end of the year. Yes, that's what he did say. OCG said you can only mine Ethereum by doing computational work. He was saying that NepoPows would not work for ETC to ADA. Okay.
OCG's a resident expert. I consider him an expert.
I'll take that. And Kufu said there are so many alts that just make some fake proposals to do some new kind of network or protocol. How should ADA break out of being lumped in with those? Well, I think that there's a certain process that IOHK, Emergo, and the foundation go forward. There's a certain process that they put forward when they're implementing new features within Cardano. Things are peer reviewed. They definitely do the research before they launch something. They use formal methods. They have a whole team working on making sure that you cannot break the system before they deploy the system. And you can look at formal methods as basically the instruction manual before something gets implemented. So it has all the math behind it and making sure that everything can be verified down to the microsecond. So if you're delegating your stake, nothing goes wrong with your staking rewards after a certain epoch, or your ADA doesn't get released somehow and you lose custody of your ADA. Other projects, they mostly build code first and then they wait for something to break and then they fix the problem. But Cardano takes this forward approach where they write the instruction manual first that gives the architect what they need to design the actual system. And I think that this provides a certain level of rigor and security for Cardano to move forward. So you know with 100% or near 100% accuracy that what you're going to do within the ecosystem is actually going to do what they said it's going to do. So when you delegate to a pool, you know that you're not relinquishing your ADA at all, never during that process. And you know that if a pool wins a block, you will get paid after an epoch. And that's all described in the papers. It's been formally verified, and you're going to see exactly how smooth this process is going to work when Shelley releases. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Rick.
Yes, just think of when you delegate your stake, you are doing work. You're providing work to the network. That's a good way to look at it, because otherwise, if you ran a proof of work miner, you would have an electric bill to pay at the end of every month. And I used to run a 2,000 watt miner, and there were some months it could barely pay for itself. Some months were boom, some months were bust. That miner's since been taken apart and sold off. Although proof of work is an awesome technology, you have to keep upgrading your hardware to keep up with it. Otherwise, you can't generate enough hashes to pay the electric bill, depending on the season. So when you are delegating, you are doing work when you delegate your stake. That's a very important concept.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
We also have a question from Roy Dobson. Phil, are you running a pool? Yes, I'll be running pool. Rick will be running a pool as well. The Lead Trance asks, can you guys bring others on the podcast that will be setting up staking pools? We haven't talked about it yet, but sure. We plan when staking comes out, we're going to have a mega episode. We have some surprises in effect, and you know that you're going to be able to get the information that you need on the Cardano effect. So we're going to make sure that everyone is well informed, and we'll have a special event. We've talked briefly about it, but we haven't talked about our strategy yet. Rick, do you want to add something to that?
Yes, I did have a brief mention in the Cardano Stake Pool Best Practice Telegram channel that if you guys want to have a stake pool operator episode, we'll do that. It does not have to be live. We do pre-recorded episodes. Please let me know in the chat, and please let me know at the cardanoeffect.io contact form that if you would like to have a stake pool operators Cardano Effect episode, I would love to do that. Let me know. As long as we get maybe at least 2 or 3 people, I suppose, that we can, because this Zoom app we're using now, it says Zoom down there. I keep forgetting it says that. It'll handle up to 100 people. So we could have a massive powwow. We have no idea how it'll work. We just try, and if it works, great. So if you want to have a massive stake pool operator get together, we have the technology to support it.
But
we'll get you dialed in.
Yes, email us, but let's wait a little bit until we get some concrete dates of when this is going to come out, because I don't want people to feel like we're not responding to them, because we don't know when things are going to be released. So we have no idea. So we want to plan things maybe when we have a little bit more certainty, because it's a drawback if we're saying, oh, we're going to do this episode next month and staking doesn't come out for another like 2-3 months. Then the episode is not as timely. We want to be as timely as possible. So we'll probably announce this closer to when we have more concrete dates and see exactly what's going to go on. But hopefully we can do something like that at the end of Q4 of this year, given that staking releases.
Yeah, and there's a few more comments in chat. We'll come back to those in a minute. We're on the third Reddit topic.
Yes.
Cardano. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Cardano is among the projects better than Bitcoin, according to Weiss Ratings. And this is another one on the same website. It's on publish0x.com when you open up that article. And the
Yes.
article was by cryptotapaz.com. And there's a link that'll take you back to CryptoTapaz's original website. And it talks about Weiss Ratings has listed 3 cryptos as being better than Bitcoin while clarifying that Bitcoin may still fare well in network strength and popularity. That's a fair comment. I believe I agree with that. And as you go through the article, it delineates details about why the author has that opinion. I tend to agree with it. I was talking about this with my wife last night, and I said, I can't believe Ethereum technology is technically better than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin market cap value is still way higher. And I just scratch my head and go, what's going to happen with Cardano?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Weiss Ratings is a different story.
Yeah.
Weiss Ratings, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yes, you do. You do. I know it went up high, but I don't think this news is newsworthy, only because Weiss Ratings goes back and forth. And nothing against Weiss, but have you ever noticed that they say some blockchain project is the best blockchain bet project ever, and then they'll give it a grade of like a C+ or a B-? I mean, I don't know how many people went to school, but when you do something extremely well, you usually get an A or an A+. If someone says you're the best thing ever and you're getting a B or a C or a D, I don't know. And then Weiss also contradicts what they say. They'll say something's good in one tweet, and in the following tweet they'll say something different. So I don't know if there are multiple analysts that are analyzing this, but I assume that none of the analysts are extremely in depth in any particular project. They more look at a broad stroke of what the cryptocurrency ecosystem is, and then they make their adjustments. So maybe in the future we can have a rating system that people more in depth into a particular project can give a little bit more accurate information of what's going on within the project. But we'll take it because anything good about Cardano is pretty much true. Yeah.
And when you look at Weiss Rating in detail, when you go into their detailed analysis, it is really good. I got to give them credit for that. At least the content of those detailed analysis. I've looked at the thorough ones. But then you look at their Twitter account and it looks like there's 3 different people operating it, which is okay, but I just go, yeah, that's a tweet. It's an opinion.
Yes.
Their detailed analysis, check. The Twitter account, okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Sure. That was good.
Let's see. Any other comments? I got to make sure I scroll up.
Let me see.
White Environment asks, can you put your videos on here instead of Telegram? I'm not sure what that means. Please let me know in detail what you mean by that, or email me. Mass adoption brings up a good point. No project is running 100% of their potential yet. That's a good point. If you look at Weiss Ratings, you got to ask the question and say, what does an A look like? How would a cryptocurrency project score an A? So, yeah, maybe it's because they're not running to full potential yet. Thank you for that.
Yes. Someone just reminded me I need to post this in Telegram, so I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah. I guess that's what they were saying. Maybe not.
Rob Dog asks, do you think Cardano will be shown on Bitcoin and Friends one day? I don't know. Is that the name of a program? I'm not familiar with that one.
Me neither.
It'd be nice if it was a sitcom.
Yeah.
Kind of like The Big Bang Theory. Roy Dobson says, Weiss compares apples to oranges. They compare crypto projects not directly with other crypto projects, but they also include how the entire crypto space may perform. Yeah. Weiss does do a broad analysis, so I got to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
They do well with that. All right. Next one, Philippe, you want to take it? Cardano staking?
Let me see real quick. So this one was Cardano staking, everything you need to know about ADA returns, and it was posted by Long Speak. And This links to an article on Crypto Briefing and basically goes to answer some questions like how will Cardano achieve decentralization? What are the logistics of staking? What can you expect for staking? And a quick article that was upvoted. And yeah, so there's definitely a lot of information you can find around if you're interested, because people ask the question about rewards and the reward schematics. To my knowledge, they haven't been finalized, but you can get a good estimation. Ruslan from Emergo did a calculator. It's on his GitHub. I can link it below.
Yeah.
It has a difficult URL to remember, but you can input the number of ADA that you're going to be delegating, and it'll give you a return percentage, and then you can fiddle with the numbers. So you can estimate how many transactions are going to happen within each epoch, because the more transactions that happen within a given 5-day period or epoch, the higher the staking rewards will be for the individual end user. So what does that tell you? That means the more activity that's happening with Cardano, that means the more you'll benefit. So as Cardano grows, everyone's going to be benefiting that's staking. So you can go and check that out, that calculator out. I'll see if I can drop the link below after this video is published. So yeah, anything else about that article, Rick? Did you take a deep read of that article?
No, I didn't do a deep read, but I did follow the comments down in the Reddit, which, although this is not a strong week on news, not much news this week, the Reddit comments are the best news in some instances. In this one, Deep Potato over there on the Cardano Reddit says, Cardano has a few ways to ensure that its pools don't accumulate too much centralized power. For one thing, Cardano stake pools will offer lower rewards as they get larger. This will encourage users to move between pools on a regular basis. That's what we were talking about earlier. So if you want to get greater detail, more content, or more in depth on some of these articles we bring up, check out the Reddit comments down below. That's the power of Reddit. That's what I really like about Reddit, is that the way it threads conversations allows people to drill deeper into the articles.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds
so
good.
Our next one is, I'll go on to the next one, Philippe.
Okay.
Check comments, but the Cardano community should be absolutely clear what is peer review and what is not. This is from a significant donut on the Cardano subreddit. And he came across one of the Cardano ambassadors' tweet about Girolamo. Girolamo is Max, and Max came back and replied on that. And there's a reason why this is a very highly upvoted Reddit thread. Significant Donut says, are the posts in this blog-like place peer-reviewed, referring to the Girolamo blog? Sorry, but if this post is research-driven, we have a very serious misunderstanding about the Cardano's publications. So what happened as I read through that article is one of our ambassadors, Max, who's 16 years old, by the way, and I wish I could write as well as him when I was 16. Big shout out to Max. Wrote an article on his Girolamo blog post, ADA Will It Become a Currency? And it was a very well-written article. However, it was put into context as a publication and not a blog post. So really, this was a definitions thing. What do you call a publication, which has a clear definition in the academic community? And Max replied, and he said, hi, I'm Max. I'm the author of the tweet, an article you mentioned here. And big shout out to Max, because he owned up and he said, yeah, that was me. How do I fix it? And the guy offered advice, and they got it sorted out. So that was fantastic. That was great community work there. And shout out to both of you, Significant Donut and Max, for making it a better product in the end.
Very cool. Very cool.
Absolutely. All right. Checking chat.
Yes. Checking chat. I see proof of from Arjan de Vries. Proof of stake is the future, I think, isn't it, guys? I think it is. I think it's more sustainable. It's more scalable. It allows more people. It decreases the barrier of entry to actually stake your coins and benefit from the ecosystem and profit and live within an ecosystem. Not everyone can afford a miner. Not everyone wants to listen to a miner in their house. Not everyone can keep up with the latest GPUs, and they can't get the next graphics card, and they just don't want to do it, or they don't have the technical expertise. But proof of stake is definitely decreasing the barrier to entry there. So yeah. And then Kufu says, any plans for a DEX inside Daedalus? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I don't know. Rick, you wanted to say something about DEXs?
Yeah, I don't know if the DEX would run inside Daedalus itself. It could. I think it matters of where does the smart contract platform run. And I heard currently they're going to put Plutus on layer 1, which is a change from the original strategy. It might eventually move to layer 2. The current most interesting DEX, you've heard us talk about it before, is Saturn. Saturn is a true DEX. I mean, I'm amazed by the technology. It runs out there on a blockchain. The web interface at Saturn.network is simply the interface to get into the blockchain and interact with the smart contracts. There are ways of interacting with the Saturn network without having to use their web page. I have no idea how it works, but it is possible. The web page is to make it easy for guys like me to interact with the smart contracts because I have no idea how they work. Yeah. So could there be a DEX in Daedalus? There certainly could be, because it was we had Marcus Herney on a previous episode, and the technology will support things like that, like an App Store, DApp Store. I don't see why it wouldn't support a DEX.
Yeah.
Again, a little bit over my head, but I will certainly try my best to answer your question with what I do know. Let's see. There's a few more.
Tony McBride says Charles should go on the Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe is not that well informed about crypto. Yes, when the opportunity presents itself, I agree, but I think that it should wait until after staking and after smart contracts, because if Charles were to go on today, there would be also obviously a massive number of people that would flock and start downloading Daedalus and download and use Yoroi, but then it would stop there and then they'd forget about it. So you need something for people to actually interact with and feel like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. And it's pretty cool to me, but the everyday person wants to see, oh, staking. When is staking going to come out? And if we just have one episode where they talk about it and then they go download Daedalus and then that's it, they're gone. I just think that there's going to be a better time for that to happen. And staking has to be released and smart contracts have to be released. This project has to be better than Bitcoin and Ethereum when Charles goes on the Joe Rogan podcast. Otherwise, I think it's a missed opportunity.
And Charles has said that as well. Mm-hmm. He said he does not want to go on Joe Rogan yet. I asked him during one of his AMAs. He said it's not time yet. Mm-hmm. When the time comes and the opportunity presents itself, that would be a good time. But we're still not ready. There was a question in here from John, and he says, "Hello, I'm new to Cardano, and I currently have all my ADA in a Daedalus wallet. That is great. However, I was under the impression that I could store all my Cardano in a Ledger Nano S. That is correct. Use Yoroi, Y-O-R-O-I, Yoroi from YoroiWallet.com. It's made by Emergo, and you can store your ADA on Ledger Nano S using Yoroi. Daedalus is yet to come. Eventually, it will have staking from a ledger."
Yes, and I've talked to Marcus about that, who's the front-end developer for Daedalus. So it will come to Daedalus eventually. I don't know when the deadline is, when the date is, but but eventually it will come. It needs to come because I use Daedalus and I want to be able to use my ledger within Daedalus as well. And I know all the functionality that's going to come to Daedalus in the future. People are going to need a one-stop shop to safeguard their crypto, communicate with DApp Store, and do everything else within this Cardano ecosystem. So,
yep, you certainly can. And I'm going back over to Reddit to wrap up on the Cardano community. Should be absolutely clear about what is peer review and what is not. And just so you guys know, my take on that is the people who are clear about peer review are the professionals, the IOHK people who have doctorate's degrees and have experience in peer review. That's where the clarity of peer review lies. Everything else is just social media. And I assume all social media is not peer reviewed. Charles made fun of that one time. I loved it in one of his videos. Charles Hoskinson, he said, just because you take your white paper and post it online and let people comment on it, that's not peer review. That's not peer review. Peer review is you take your paper and you stand up in front of a panel of experts. I'm not quoting Charles, but this is a general idea. Peer review is when you take your paper and you stand up in front of a bunch of people who hate you, and they have competing ideas, and they are experts in the field. And you have to convince them that your idea is correct. And if it's not, you have to go back and redo it. That's the general idea of peer review. But posting something online is not peer review. It's just posting something online. That's all it is. So feel free to post away, guys.
Yeah.
It's the internet.
Yeah.
It's the internet. There's so much garbage out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great and beautiful things as well.
But mostly garbage.
It's mostly garbage.
Yeah. So
what's our next one? Haskell is surprisingly cool.
That's wonderful. I mean, they just started learning at learnuahaskell.com, and there's some cool stuff to it.
Yeah, that's a popular reference website, learnuahaskell.com. And that is from Reddit user Frequently. We can only call you Frequently now. We can't say your entire Reddit username because last week our YouTube video got flagged for review. And we were like, what did we say to get flagged for review? It must be that Reddit username.
Yeah, we try to keep it as clean as possible. You know, if YouTube wasn't so stringent on the laws, we'd have probably our mouths would be a little bit looser, but we don't want to get flagged constantly. So
we're not as popular as Joe Rogan. We can't drop the word that begins with F, obviously.
Yes.
We want to make sure we have full availability on YouTube.
Yes.
So we avoid those words.
Rob Dogs. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Rob Dog asked a funny question, the first question. He asked two questions. In the future, if I get a wife and then wants a divorce and wants to take all my ADA, can she take them? Even though I plan not to mention my holdings to my future woman, like create a smart contract that my ex-wife can't grab my ADA. So, one of the features for Cardano, I know this is a cheeky thing to say, but there's something called Multi-Sig. And this is basically going to allow multiple different people to access wallets, and it's going to require signatures from multiple different people. So let's say there's a trust fund in the future and you have 5 people in your family and you need a majority, like 2 or 3 of people to sign off in a particular transaction in order for it to move forward. That's how I've understood it. And so I don't see why not that you could do some kind of escrow solution where you need multiple people to sign for a transaction, or you keep your funds safe in that way. And actually, this is a good segue because we just had the episode with Caitlin Long, and we just talked about what you can probably do to prevent the state and prevent the government from seizing your funds if there's a lien on your account. Go watch the episode. It's going to be out next week, and you could probably get some tidbits and some little pieces of advice here and there. Did you want to add anything to that, Rick?
Yeah, get a prenup.
It's true. That's true.
Get a prenup. Caitlin Long's perspective on it, she's looking at crypto through a different lens than most of us. Treat it like cash. If you would get a prenup for cash, get a prenup for your crypto. If you treat it with all of the legal context you would treat stocks, bonds, or any other asset. It's simply an asset with value. So if you look at it through that lens and you were to present it to if you want to protect your investment, then just treat it like cash and get the legal writings in place. Not a lawyer, not legal advice, not financial advice, but fair question. Very good question.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be many. If this becomes a very large project, there will probably be disputes in the future. So, good luck with that. But find some legal counsel to do that and listen to the Caitlin Long episode this week. Shameless plug.
There was one other comment from Billy Ferguson. He said, guys, what happens to the pool when folks start to move away because of lower rewards being paid out? Well, same thing that happens with Bitcoin. Bitcoin used to be 50 coins per block. Now it's down to 12.5. The value of Bitcoin went up. However, mining 12.5 Bitcoin at this point in time is worth $120,000. So basically it will respond to the market. If the rewards become more scarce and the value is correct, then the value will go up. That's the only thing I can really think of. I had something else to say in this. Oh, something to keep in mind. The proof of stakes are different, kind of related to this question. With Cardano, the proof of stake is actually securing the network. With some other similar technologies, people have been asking me to compare to other technologies, such as Stellar. The cryptocurrency is simply inflationary. The stake is not securing the network. You simply let your coins sit in your wallet, and every week you get a payout. You get an inflation payout. That's not the type of proof of stake Cardano is building. Cardano's proof of stake is closer to proof of work in conceptually, not physically, but conceptually. I kind of went off on a tangent on that. Philippe, you want to rope me back in?
No,
Put me on a leash, brother.
Yeah, no.
I'm out there.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, there's different types of proof of stake. I know there's DPoS, delegated proof of stake, and Cardano's proof of stake model. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, when people are going, the beautiful thing about Cardano is the math that went behind it, because epochs are this 5-day period where you can delegate your stake to a particular stake pool, and you'll get paid after that 5-day payout. So if the price decreases from Monday to Friday, anytime during the week, you could pull out your ADA and either delegate it to another pool or just wait until you find something or sell it for something else. But one of the benefits of having such a short epoch and a quick payout period is that people are going to ride the fluctuations a lot more, because they know that, I'm getting my paycheck at the end of the week. I'm getting my staking rewards payment at the end of the week. And then, once they get their payment, they're going to be like, oh, of course I'm going to just keep it in this pool and then continue delegating for another 5 days. They provided the service that I wanted, and they provided it well, so I'm going to continue staking with them. And if you see a pool that has significantly higher rewards and you end up jumping to that pool, what happens is that saturation for that pool may go up tremendously, and then the pool you just left, those rewards will go higher. So it's a balancing act. And I also spoke to Marcus, and in the future, there may be some sort of auto-delegating feature within Daedalus. So you may be able to pick a select group of pools that you trust, and based on your reward metrics or what you say you want your ROI to be for a given time period, it may move your coins without you even knowing it. So similar to working as a third-party broker, moving their stocks from stock to stock or bond to bond. So all these, I'm not sure if I went on a tangent and I'm not answering the question completely, but there are going to be price fluctuations, but depending on how the proof of stake model is created, that's going to influence how people are going to stay within the system and how they're going to delegate in the future. So yeah, that was a rant. Sorry.
No, that was a good rant. You're right. As I don't want to move my ADA, I want to stake it and let it sit there. But it's brilliant that the IOHK team and Cardano will allow it. It'll work like a 401k if you have a 401k retirement account. Delegate it and let it auto reallocate based off of a group of pools. We had a question from Heinz Gassner. Heinz says, I'll try again. Is there still an opportunity to apply for starting a staking pool during fall 2019? Or is the maximum reasonable number of pools already assigned? The answer is yes, you can still run a pool. The registration was for the testnet stake pool operators. They wanted to make sure they're getting good feedback. They didn't want to, I'm assuming they didn't want to have to filter out all the noise. Once staking goes live, anyone can run a pool. Yes. I hope I answered your question, Heinz.
Yes.
Rob Dog had to go back to work.
Oh.
Let's see. He said lunchtime's over.
Okay. Have fun, Rob Dog.
Yeah, and there are other users. Tony McBride has an answer also in there. Thank you, Tony, for helping answer other people's questions. Greatly appreciate you guys helping each other out, answering each other's questions.
Yes, yes.
All right, which one are we on? That was
Haskell's surprisingly cool. So the next one we're at is Caitlin Long. We talked about this at the beginning. So Caitlin Long from the Wyoming Blockchain Task Force joined us on the Cardano Effect that was shot yesterday. Will be released mid next week. Watch for that episode. One of my favorite thus far, and I think Rick could agree with that. Caitlin Long is a legendary figure in the crypto space and has a lot of clout. And I would like to thank everyone here for tuning in, because without you, we wouldn't have been able to I'm not saying we have a lot of clout, but our clout is increasing and people are taking us seriously when we do invite, because we have so many subscribers, we have so many views, we have so many unique downloads, and it's because of you where our podcast is growing significantly. So keep on subscribing, keep on liking, keep on commenting, because we're our people that may not take us seriously now may start taking us seriously in the future. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
It will be. And we're trying to help you guys stay engaged as possible, because I don't want to see people get bored with Cardano. Even though when development is really intense, you don't hear a lot of news because they're writing code. So we're trying to help keep you guys engaged. I'm going to jump down to the next Reddit because we're approaching an hour. And for viewers who watch the replay later on, we're trying to benefit them as well.
Yes.
There's one post on how negative interest rates will drive savers to ADA. We already touched on the Emergo partners with Korean trade associations in a push for Cardano ADA. So Emergo's doing lots of massive work out there. And that's their role as the business partner driver. Philippe, do you have any comments on how negative interest rates will drive savers to ADA? That's where if I take a loan from a bank, the bank is paying me to take the loan.
Yeah, or yes, they're paying you. Yes, the bank has the liability with negative interest rates. So I don't think this post was specifically about Cardano, just that negative interest rates may happen in the future. And I think some Redditor summed it up pretty well that this is not only going to be beneficial to ADA, it would be beneficial to crypto in general or alternative assets. Whether or not we're near negative interest rates, not sure. But even if we're not at negative interest rates, if this cryptocurrency system, like right now, I feel like this is not financial advice, of course. Of course, we can drop probably 50% tomorrow, but we're near the bottom. Like, we're not going to go to fractions of a penny or anything like that. We may drop another 50%. I don't know. But we're near the bottom. And if you're a real saver, you may identify this as a potential opportunity. And when proof of stake actually goes live for Cardano, the savings there, the rewards, you can be getting your staking rewards every 5 days. Right now, you can go to your local bank, especially I'm in the US. I can go to my local bank, Bank of America, and I can open up a CD and lock up a ton of money for 18 months and get fractions of a percent of return on my investment. And so much so that it doesn't even beat the 2% inflation that happens on a year-to-year basis. So you're actually losing money by locking up your money in a CD, which is incredible for a long period of time, for 18 months or like 36 months or 72 months. You get nothing. And by the time you take it out, it's going to be worth even less. So these systems where there's a fixed equitable asset that is going to be appreciating over time, not only in the price, but also your rewards are going to make sure that you are appreciating your value of your investment. I think that's a perfect argument. It's a perfect argument to supplement what she's saying about the negative interest rates. So there's a honus to move your funds to ADA today if the project becomes successful. We don't have to wait for banks to completely collapse or negative interest rates to be implemented.
Yeah. And, Philippe, I got to be honest. At first, I was confused about negative interest rates because it just blew my mind. So to make sure I understand this correctly, if I save money by putting it in the bank, I'm not going to get any interest on that. Is that what they're saying? Or is it if I take out a loan, they're going to suck it up on a loan? I think it means both.
I think it means both.
If I take out a loan, a negative interest rate would be the bank sucks it up on the interest. I don't pay any interest on that loan. So not only is that 0%, But if the bank is sucking up the interest on that loan, that's a negative interest rate.
Yes, because what happens with your savings account, even your checking account, every day when the bank closes, they do something called sweeping your account. So they sweep all the accounts within that local branch, or like Bank of America will sweep all their accounts. And then they're investing it in Asian markets or markets that are not open in the US. And then when you wake up the next morning, they earn money on the money that you had in the bank account. So if the negative interest rates, that would imply that even your savings and checkings account wouldn't be earning any interest. So they'd have to be taking the value from somewhere, and it's likely that you may be losing value on your savings account, or you'd have to you would be de-incentivized to hold larger balances within your account, and it would be like you have to keep like this amount of money in order for it to be safe. And if you fall below this amount, or if you go above this amount, you're gonna have to pay some kind of monthly fee or something like that. It's probably something extremely predatory, but you're right. It would be for both savings and investments within the bank.
Wow. So pros and cons of fiat and crypto. Fiat is manipulated one way, crypto is manipulated differently. But they're both manipulated. All right, let's see where we're at. I lost track of.
Okay. I think, yeah, let's do a couple of questions. Yeah,
let's do some questions and wrap up if you guys are ready for that. You ready, Philippe?
Yes. Oh, Sebastian's in.
Hey, Sebastian, how you doing, buddy? Billy Ferguson asked, guys, any news with STO Polymath? Any goodies you can share with us? I don't have any news on STO Polymath. I do look at other projects, but there's a lot of projects out there.
Yeah.
If anyone has comments on that, please feel free to leave it in the chat.
I think the question about Rob Dog earlier is still being discussed about keeping money from your significant other.
Yeah. That one stirred people up. That was pretty fun. Sebastian has a good comment in there. Thank you, Sebastian. He says, with negative interest rates, in reference to, basically it means you have to pay somebody to hold your money for you.
Yes.
Nice summary, Sebastian.
Yes. Yes. Everything else is like, don't tell your significant other.
Oh my God. There was a hilarious tweet yesterday from Crypto Buzz. He said something like, "Dear Charles, please make sure Cardano's successful or I'm going to be a homeless divorcee." Something like that. Homeless divorcee. Once my wife finds out how much of our life savings I put into Cardano. I'm right there with you, Crypto Buzz. My wife knows that I'm balancing between my retirement savings and Cardano. I'll be in the same boat. If it crashes, she'll be like, "Get out of here, you bum."
I wanted to like that tweet, but I just didn't. I thought it was hilarious. But it's
saw that too
as well. So yeah. So good luck. I mean, don't invest more than you have to lose. But once again, most people here are just working people, so we can't afford to lose anything. So
you're right. I can't afford to lose anything. If I didn't break that rule, Philippe, I wouldn't have any crypto.
It's always the whales that are telling you can't afford. Don't put more than you can afford to lose. But at one point, if they actually made the money themselves, they had to take an extraordinary risk in order to multiply their money. So it's really like, it's good advice, but at the same time, it's not advice.
The whales are taking the same risk I am. Just put some more zeros on the end of it.
Yeah, and also if they lose 80%, they still have, if you still have a few million, or you're good. You're not like, but the regular working person, if you lose like 80-90%, it's
you're done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
Over.
It's not a good feeling at all. So
yeah, Someone transacted $700 million in Bitcoin a few days ago.
Yeah,
that was big news. If you lose 80% of that, that's a lot of money. But you still have enough to buy your Lambo. Eddie says, I put 99% of my life savings in ADA.
Oh, man.
All right, Eddie.
Yeah.
You are a daring person.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think that's good. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Cardano Effect podcast. Once again, our episode with Caitlin Long will be out on Wednesday. Wonderful episode. Reach out to us on Telegram, Twitter, Reddit. We appreciate all the support. Leave your comments, both negative and positive. We're going to try to do these weekly live streams every week, regardless if the news cycle is dead or not. This week, there wasn't a lot of news happening, but we just want to interact and make sure that everyone stays in touch with us and we stay in touch with everyone else. So until the next episode of the Cardano Effect podcast, I don't know if we have any guests slated for this week, but we'll definitely be on for the live stream at the end of the week. And we are reaching out to people, and we're going to try to get as many people on this podcast as possible. And if you have any leads from other projects or other people that you would like to see on this podcast, and if you have any connections, if you know anyone that you think could have a good podcast session with us, make the connection. We're available, and you can reach out to us at any time. Rick and I are on Telegram 24 hours a day, because we're on different time zones. So when he's sleeping, I'm on, vice versa. So you can reach out to us whenever. And once again, have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you. Enjoy your time with friends and family. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Rick, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm glad to see Sebastian dialed in. It's like midnight his time. That's why Sebastian isn't on when we come on this time. So thanks for chiming in there, Sebastian. We didn't want to wake you up, man. I'm sorry.
Yes, we didn't want to wake you up.
We'll try to get a better time slot, but we've been hammering Sebastian. You haven't seen him on because every time we schedule these, it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, Japan time. So it's hard to wrap around the planet.
Yes.
That's all I got. I'll be reaching out to the stake pool operators. So if you want to get a pool operator episode going, that's all I got, Philippe.
Yes, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, yes. And Sebastian said his girlfriend would be pissed if he took the call right now. So yes, that's exactly why. All right, bye, Sebastian. All right, any meeting, guys. Bye, everyone.